All right, we got Avatar: The Last Airbender, and we're talking about the Earth Kingdom government and how they silence people and they have a lot of propaganda. Might not be related to real life, but who knows? Let's check this video out. It looks cool. Came from the Discord, link in the description. This video is intended to explore the themes of the government control and silence. It has nothing to do with real
On
life,
Monday,
unless it does.
the Southern African Development Community said 3 Tanzanian soldiers were killed, 3 others wounded when hostile mortar fire landed near their camp.
That would be illegal.
Angry and frustrated that neither presidential candidate seems to be hearing them.
There's no war in Ba Sing Se.
What are you talking about? Where do you think all the refugees come from? You can't hide it.
Yeah, they can.
If it's one thing I love about Avatar, it's that it made it very clear there is no real winner in the war.
100%.
Today it's being monitored that it's more than 110 armed conflicts and wars that is happening on this earth right now. But I had to ask myself, are we truly informed? One of my professors once said that you only hear about the things that gets the most clicks and reposts, which made me think about how well nations hide their dirty laundry. Now it's time to reveal the truth about everybody's favorite capital.
Ba Sing Se.
Ba Sing Se, which is the capital of the Earth Kingdom, is a near perfect representation for this video.
This could be the most important thing he's ever heard.
What's most important to His Royal Majesty is maintaining the cultural heritage of Ba Sing Se. All his duties relate to issuing decrees on such matters. It's my job to oversee the rest of the city's resources, including the military.
So the king is just a figurehead?
Yep. He's
He's your puppet.
Oh, no. His Majesty is an icon, a god to his people. He can't sully his hands with the hourly changes of an endless war.
Video. You have a wealth divide between the upper class who's detached from reality and the lower.
I want to say that this video is absolutely amazing. We're literally only 1 minute in, bro. This is absolutely amazing. Insta. Oh, I'm already subbed. Let's go.
Class, which is filled with petty crime and refugees, kind of like real life. The capital is mainly known for its walls. You really can't get in, and it's hard to get information out. The whole world knows about the war against the Fire Nation except the citizens that aren't too scared to speak out. So how do they keep it hidden so well? And it's because they use these 5 real-world tactics: policing, intimidation, propaganda, imprisonment, and indoctrination, or PIPI for short. Starting with policing and intimidation, introducing the Dai Li, the secret police force of the Earth Kingdom. They basically lurk in the shadows and arrest anyone who talks or mentions anything about the war. I like how you get an immediate weird vibe as soon as you enter the city, especially from Aang.
Why do they have all these poor people blocked off in one part of the city?
This is why I never came here before. I always heard it was so different from the way the monks taught us to live.
They're under control of somebody
But what's
else.
super eerie is that you notice all the civilians extremely afraid of Judy and holding their tongues. I know as Americans sometimes we tend to joke about the FBI and how they're always watching. But seriously, specialized task force like the CIA pay very close details to their citizens.
Of course.
Many governments use crazy surveillance systems to monitor protests all the time. And the funny
100%.
thing is that this technology isn't technically hidden.
No,
How
it's
many of
not.
you have heard the term geofencing? In the right use, it's a helpful tool. Geofencing can help locate people who need assistance, or a store can send you coupons for a service that you need in your area. But there is a negative side, which we all knew. It can be used to track people who exercise the right to protest and collect their data. Americans love their neutralization stories. I mean, just look at the Assassin's Creed games, Jason Bourne, and John Wick, just to name a few. These stories revolve around the idea of eliminating threats and precision. Now, Avatar: The Last Airbender doesn't really explore this concept until the Legends of Korra, and I kinda did want to dive into real-world examples, but Big Brother YouTube isn't allowing
you better be careful.
So instead, we're gonna talk about how Avatar focuses
Hey, you need to get that Nebula sponsor.
more on fear-mongering through imprisonment. People naturally become hesitant to speak out on issues they care about if they know harsh consequences await them. The penalties could range from something as minor as a slap on the wrist to more extreme forms of punishment. I think a really good example of this would be the Hama backstory. I thought it to be quite strange that the Fire Nation kept Hama and the other waterbenders alive, despite them being a potential threat, and especially when they realized none of them was the Avatar. Maybe the writers thought that fully neutralizing them was way too dark for the show, but then you remember that the Fire Nation had already committed genocide against the air nomads.
Yeah.
They're so embarrassed by it. In Springfield, they're eating the dogs, the people that came in. They're eating the cats. They're eating the pets of the people that live there.
Wow.
And this is what's happening in our country, and it's a shame.
I just want to clarify here. You bring up Springfield, Ohio, and ABC News did reach out to the city manager there. He told us there had been no credible reports of specific claims of pets being harmed, injured, or abused by individuals within the immigrant community.
Well, I've seen people on television.
Let me just say here, this is the
people on television say my dog was taken and used for food. So maybe he said that, and maybe.
I mean, I ain't gonna lie, man. This dude be saying some crazy stuff all the time. all the time. That being said, if somebody's on national TV talking about, hey, somebody took my animal away and they're going through hard times, like whenever you go through hard times, you got to do some hard time stuff. If that involves eating, like literally there was a whole billboard back in the day, like, oh, what's food? And there was a line, right? People drew the line at dogs and cats, but they'll eat horse, fish, cows, right? All these other things. But when things get harder, eventually, yeah, dogs become part of the menu. I mean, just bro, I live in Southeast Asia. Like sometimes dog is on the menu and it's not really hard times. It's just like, hey, they're abundance, you know what I'm saying? So definitely it's not like it's impossible for dogs and cats to be served to people and eaten, especially when 9 times out of 10, you probably don't even know what's in your food. Do you know what's inside the ingredients of all these fast food establishments that you eat at on a frequent basis? Absolutely no, you know you don't, and nor do you care because it tastes good. As long as it tastes good, people are willing to eat damn near anything.
That's a good thing to say for a city manager.
Propaganda is a tricky one depending on your media literacy. You see, if you're young and hip like me, you can tell the difference between an AI voice chat of former President Barack Obama playing Minecraft.
That you tried to nuke the last Minecraft world we had with TNT's Donald.
Yo, shout out to President's Play.
I had my reasons, and remember, my wall didn't explode with the rest of the world. Ha ha ha, I'm so great.
But if you're 70, you probably don't know the difference.
Yes.
You see, the statement in Avatar, "There is no war in Ba Sing Se," is perfect because it's catchy, it's believable because Ba Sing Se is so protected by the walls, and most importantly, it's not true. You see, Joe D is a propaganda symbol. The creepy, cheerful compliance and denying existence of the war and unrest is meant for outsiders to believe everything is okay. Maybe this is a reach, but whenever I think of the word propaganda and war, I think of this SpongeBob clip.
Poisoned our water supply, burned our crops, and delivered a plague unto our houses.
He did?
No, but are we just gonna wait around until he does?
We live in an age of propaganda.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Everyone wants your vote or to buy something, but no one wants to listen. Sometimes I wish I had a built-in lie detector or x-ray vision to see what product is dangerous, but sadly, none of this is real. Public perception is very huge in Avatar. A good episode would be Avatar Day, where we know that the Avatar is a symbol of peace and balance, but we have a group of people who are fed misinformation and created a holiday to tear down Avatar. In the show, I wouldn't say there's a lot of misinformation, but rather no information. If you don't mind me asking, how do you stay up to date on current events? Is it from word to mouth? Is it from your local news station? Is it from social media? Either way, you're
regardless, it could be fed lies, yeah.
very lucky. I guess a good example of this is how in some places in the world there's little to no Wi-Fi access at all.
Absolutely forbidden by the rules of the city to continue putting up posters.
We don't care about the rules, and we're not asking permission.
I know in today's age we don't technically
Avatar,
go around posting flyers up. And if we are, it's through the acts of social media. If we're looking for a correlation, it'd be apps like Instagram and Facebook basically blocking anything that's war related. So sometimes some people are just left in the dark when it comes to current world events.
Years ago, I stumbled upon a great and powerful secret.
What?
I was a young lieutenant serving under General Shu in the Earth Kingdom. I discovered a hidden library, underground, in fact. I tore through scroll after scroll. I knew then that these spirits could be found and killed.
The Fire Nation is known for gaining information for war purposes and destroying traces of it. How can I be informed on something if it doesn't exist? These are common historical practices where soldiers would burn libraries and certain cultural intel. You know, the civilians in Ba Sing Se are ignorant of the outside war, but also civilians in the Fire Nation. So much, Zuko doesn't even understand how badly viewed the Fire Nation was, or it can be viewed that he actually never cared into certain events. The episode Zuko Alone highlights Zuko helping a town who was getting bullied by Earth bandits because they preyed on the elderly, women, and kids, while all the fit men were fighting or in jail. Even though Zuko helps, they realize that he's Fire Nation, and his good actions doesn't mean anything because who he is and what nation he comes behind. Imprisonment in the Avatar verse isn't just about holding people captive, it's a war strategy. The ongoing war in the Fire Nation series is mainly fought by children because adults are either dead or in prison. We see this in our main cast, specifically with Sokka, and how he's technically the leader of his people as a teenager. We see this with Haru in the Earth Kingdom and Jet with his freedom fighters. This is not only a key theme in the show, but a grim reality in the real world. I remember reading about child soldiers in Africa in middle school through the Scholastic News.
Wow.
From a warlord's perspective.
In middle school? Yo, shout out to your middle school because that's wild.
If you remove the leaders, typically adults, it becomes harder for resistance or rebellion because children, while brave, aren't as equipped to lead or strategize on the same level. I think the easiest people to make fun of are conspiracists. There's no way you think Bigfoot is real. Wait, you're trying to tell me that you lost your ship to a kraken? That was before we knew giant squids exist. We also had zero public technology back then to prove it. Jet during these episodes in Ba Sing Se is a conspiracist. And he was right. Uncle Iroh is Fire Nation, and he did see him firebend.
He did.
Of course, no one believes him, and the police soon arrest him for re-educational purposes, basically brainwashing. You get to see the very haunting process and also a coalition of Judy saying the same thing.
Welcome to Ba Sing Se.
I'm Judy.
Welcome to Ba Sing Se.
We're so lucky to have our walls to create order.
We're so lucky to have our walls to create order.
Fun fact, the reforming goes on in Lake Laogai, and Laogai is an abbreviation for reform through labor. What made the process of brainwashing Jet so creepy is because it involves hypnosis and a safe word. I wonder if Jordan Peele was an Avatar fan because it kind of reminds me of the Get Out cup clicking scene.
Jet, the Earth King has invited you to Lake Laogai.
I am honored to accept his invitation.
Sink into the floor.
Wait.
Sink.
Crazy, bro. Brainwashing is real too.
No, I am African American, and my people have a long heritage of being enslaved and imprisoned for unjust reasons.
100%.
MLK was arrested 29 times for enacting peaceful protests 55 years ago for the right to vote and desegregation.
And that's crazy. And the FBI, every Martin Luther King Jr. Day, they tweet out some positive shit about Martin Luther King.
Once again, when a government views your ideology of freedom as different than theirs, they will eradicate you.
Of course.
COINTELPRO was the abbreviation of Counterintelligence Program.
The purpose of this new counterintelligence endeavor is to expose, disrupt, misdirect, discredit, or otherwise neutralize the activities of black nationalists.
Neutralize could mean making somebody an informant, or putting somebody in jail, or having somebody
Using more things like counterintelligence programs, they targeted the civil rights organizations, left-wing movements, and individuals like Martin Luther King again, the Black Panther Party, and anti-Vietnam War protests. The FBI's goal was to discredit and undermine these groups, often using illegal methods such as wiretapping, forging documents, and spreading disinformation. Certain programs like these came to light in 1971 when
I wonder how many people are learning this for the first time, because I learned about this shit from my parents. You know, so this is nothing new to me. That's why I'm not shocked. I'm not surprised. Like, oh, what? Really? They did that? Like, bro, y'all got to learn y'all history or y'all doomed to repeat it.
a group of activists broke into an FBI office in Medea. Of course, this followed public outrage, and this led to a congressional investigation, and eventually a reform against these practices. This should just show you how far the government will go to monitor and suppress political dissent. Going back to the main focus of imprisonment, what's even more frightening is that there's camps like this today that put Ba Sing Se to shame. Currently, right now, China has re-education camps, often referred to as vocational education and training centers. Since 2017, the Chinese government has reportedly detained over 1 million individuals. I'm not going to go into specifics because it's a dark alleyway, but a lot of these camps focus on migrant ethnic groups, where detainees are deprived of basic legal rights, they are held without trial, and denied access to legal representation.
Copyright break.
I wanted to talk about immigration for a little bit because it's been a hot topic for the last 10 years.
Yeah, immigration is big.
As we know, war displaced tons of families and people.
Sure does.
And people flee to receive better lives.
They sure do.
Sometimes I find it interesting in how we can see Ba Sing Se takes in tons of refugees and migrants, but they push them to the side.
Yeah, they do.
The out of sight and out of mind narrative is heavy everywhere. An actual example I see often is how there can be two migrant populations with similar backgrounds, yet one gets treated better than the other. Governments may manipulate the narrative around immigrants and refugees, and location matters a lot. If you notice, refugees are put in low resource areas, and that causes inner tension between the people who've been there before them, framing them as outsiders or threats. Thus, silencing their perspectives and preventing them from drawing attention to the war or conflict that they fled. In Ba Sing Se, Long Feng says something very interesting.
Our economy would be ruined. Our peaceful way of life, our traditions would disappear.
I had to ask myself.
Which is true. Once you have people come from another culture, another background, and they come into your society, especially if the society is homogenous, that means everybody is the same, right? Japan, for example. Everybody knows Japan is Japan first, Japanese first. Now, let's say if they start taking in immigrants and migrants because of their low population and, you know, high self-destruction rate, eventually Japan will have cultural change. That's just normal. Whenever you integrate a whole bunch of people into one area, people like to share their culture and share their experience. That being said, there's going to be people that accept it. And then this is how you get a mix of different cultures. And then, of course, people start accepting that, hey, these are different people and they live with us and now they're part of us. And then there's going to be other people that push against that for the same exact reason because they are changing what they used to be. Their normal tradition is going to be changed permanently because they're integrating another group of people into their society. I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. Yeah, a lot of this stuff also happened in Europe, right? Remember when all those people moved into Europe and they started changing stuff and then, it got wild and crazy. Now, whatever's going on there, that's gonna be the norm and the natural for any country that's inviting a new batch of people into the society, especially when they're different. They're gonna have cultural ideas and cultural clashes. They're not even gonna trust each other, right? Whenever you're a homogenous country, right, you can trust your neighbor because your neighbor's like you versus trying to trust somebody that just moved in and they're totally different from you. You'd have to get to know that person. Not everybody is willing to get to know their neighbor. But yeah, let's continue.
Is it selfish for us, as viewers, to want the Earth Kingdom to partake in this war? Who decides what side to be on and who to support? War is tricky and complex, as we know, and if a government wanted to not participate, should they be at fault? And I think specifically in this case, they should. I think Ba Sing Se messed up by keeping the war a secret. They should have left it up for the people to decide if they care or not, because ultimately, it would be the citizens getting their hands dirty, like always, as the rich sit back and watch.
True.
People are very selfish sometimes. The Fire Nation already failed to take the city once, so they have nothing to worry about. The only reason the government will hide something like this is if they know that they're in the wrong and the general public will be too passionate about this cause. Very close mentor to me was my JRTC instructor. He was in active duty during the War on Terror and lost his ear because of a grenade shrapnel blew it off. Whenever I ask him for a good explanation on the continuation of the war, it only leaves between the lines of freedom. It's time I tell the truth. I've been lying about this whole video because the government doesn't want to silence war. They actually want them.
That is
Avatar had a different approach by saying that the war would ruin them economically.
Our economy would be ruined. Our peaceful way of life, our traditions would disappear.
But on the contrary, I could see if they made a deal with the Fire Nation for some type of economical benefit in the long run.
They did.
Maybe it could result in a deal of the upper
They did make a deal with the Fire Nation, right? Princess Azula was there.
class trying to save themselves.
Crazy, right? There's no war in Ba Sing Se. Teams up with the person that is actively creating the war. Wild how that works.
Tyranny. One of my favorite all-time movies is called War Dogs, and it basically explains what government contracting is. A little bit into detail about how much we make from selling and giving machinery and ammo to other countries for war. But also from an educational standpoint, war can be very beneficial.
It can.
Did you know Germany has the most advanced medical knowledge in schools because of their research on victims during World War II?
Yep.
One good overlooked operation that the United States held was Paperclip. Operation Paperclip was a secret United States intelligence program in which more than 1,600 German scientists, engineers, and technicians were taken from former Germany to the US government for employment after the World War II in Europe. Most shockingly, a lot of these guys were leaders of the Party. The end.
Damn, my mic was muted. How long was it muted for? Damn, I was cooking. Really was. Um, I'll just continue and end whatever I was saying with, hey, if you guys want to make a change, you need to work together. You need to have your community come together because there are going to be people above you that are not in your benefit and they're voted to be in your benefit. So take care of your inner circle and your outer circle, your neighborhood, your community, because sometimes when stuff goes left, you're going to have to rely on them. Real talk.
The Avatar gang was able to tell the Earth King about the war, which was one of the biggest blows to help fight the Fire Nation. I guess one of the biggest takeaways I've learned from this episode, if it's worth fighting for, then you should definitely fight for it.
100%.
And if it so happens to be that you're on the wrong side of history for one moment, maybe in the future you're looked as a hero and was seen on the right side of history.
Maybe.
If you learned something from this, share it to a friend, and don't forget.
History is always determined by the victor. Man, this is a great video. Media munchies, bro. This is a great video. Came from the Discord. Shout out to the Discord. I appreciate you guys dropping amazing videos like this. Like, yeah, this video is full of knowledge, full of history, full of full wisdom, especially this last part. Definitely keep doing what you're doing, media. This is a great video. I enjoyed it. Very, very informal, and I hope the channel blows up in the future. But of course, the stuff that you're talking about, maybe it won't. But that being said, your boy KhunShawn would definitely still be here to check out and spread the message. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed. Hit the like, subscribe if you're new. I'll see you guys on the next one, man. Peace.